Okay, getting ready to play Tennessee. Again, always a big game for the University of South Carolina. I don't know how big a game we are to them. They still lead the overall series. Pretty big. 22 wins, 5 losses. We've only beaten them once in Knoxville in the history of the series. Beaten them 4 times here. So it's always exciting for our guys to go up to Rocky Top and play the Tennessee Vols, a team with tremendous tradition, history of football. Back in my home state, East Tennessee, it's always a thrill just to go into that stadium and compete in the game. I've been lucky to go in there a whole bunch of times. I was just thinking the first time I went in there with Duke in 1982. So it'll be, again, a special thrill to go in there. Tennessee's a team that hasn't been quite as strong as they normally are. They've played some good halves against the top teams in the country, but they haven't been able to finish those games. And but we know they'll be ready for us, and we're a type of team that has not really clobbered anybody much, and it's going to be a down to the wire ball game. We got to believe that one. Very similar to Mississippi State and our other games that have been so close this year. So hopefully our guys can play one of our best games. It'll be different going without Marcus, although Marcus is going on the trip. Marcus indicated he'd like to be with his teammates, be on the sideline, be in the meetings. So we're going to pack him on the bus, on the airplane, and take him with us. So Marcus will be with us in spirit and encouragement, and I'm sure he'll be a super teammate on the sideline, cheering for his teammates out there. But other than that, Connor's ready for his 3rd start. Tennessee is starting a new quarterback, Worley, kid from up in Rock Hill. I'm sure he'll be fired up, excited to go. And our defense has got to continue playing well, maybe even a little bit better on 3rd downs. So offensively, we need to play a lot better. But it should be another heck of a game. 7-15, be a little coolest game we've had thus far this year. But I don't think it'll be as cold as the Clemson game was last year. It was one of the colder games, and our guys played pretty well that night. So hopefully the weather is something that we anticipate, look forward to it, and you shouldn't get tired when it's 45 degrees. So we're looking forward to this game, see what happens. Huge game for us, big game for them, and looking forward to it, see what happens. Okay.
Steve, what's the status of Kenny Miles and Eric Baker?
Kenny is okay. Kenny practiced last night. Brandon Wiles, again, is our starter. He's been healthy all season and has been practicing more. And we think he's a little bit better prepared to play than Kenny right now because of Kenny's wrist. But he was out there last night, and Kenny should get a lot of playing time, depending on how it goes. And Josh Hinch is our 3rd tailback in there. And Josh will probably play a little bit. He'll probably get out on the field. Walk-on kid who actually is from Knoxville, Tennessee, went to high school there. So Josh Powell probably getting the ball game somewhere.
Eric Baker.
Eric ran around last night. He's not quite 100%, but maybe by Saturday he will be. So he's going to be available for us also, Eric Baker.
Coach, can you talk a little bit more about Justin Worley? I mean, maybe the product of the system, but he had huge numbers in high school, and clearly if they
obviously he was Player of the Year in the nation coming out of high school, and so he's obviously a very talented young man, and we'll have to see how it goes. I don't know a lot about him, to tell you the truth, except that he led Rock Hill to the state championship, and they won every close game they were in, and I know his team beat Jadavion Clowney's a year ago, one of those early games, came from behind. So this kid's got a winning track record, and they're going to give him a shot. So we got to play well.
Steve, how's the loss of how none affected the offensive line and maybe what you guys have been able to do somewhat?
Oh, it's probably affected a little bit here and there, pass protection wise. Kyle was having a good year. But Cody Gibson has stepped in there and done pretty well lately. So he's ready to go. Rockevius over there. And it's probably hurts a little bit because Kyle was having a good year. But when the guy gets hurt, you just put the next guy in there and do the best you can. So our offensive line, I think, played pretty decent actually the last game. They were pretty decent against Mississippi State.
Coach, how do you assess your backups at quarterback?
Our backups at quarterback, well, we've got, of course, a package with Bruce Allington in there. Everybody saw that the last game, and in fact, the last drive of the game for us to score, he was in there 3 or 4 plays. So we have a lot of confidence putting Bruce in there and letting him go. Dylan Thompson and Andrew Clifford are behind Connor, and they're capable. I tell you, Dylan threw some pretty balls last night. Dylan's got a lot of potential. He's just never played much. He's here, second year here. And Andrew Clifford, he's got a quick release. If he can figure where everybody is and so forth, he could be a pretty good quarterback, I think. But right now, neither one of those 2 guys hopefully will be in there when the game's on the line. And hopefully Connor will be able to go the distance, hopefully.
Steve, my understanding is you guys didn't offer Justin Worley a scholarship. Is that right? Did he just not fit your system? What was the deal there?
Yeah, I asked Coach Mangus about that later on in the year, and I think for some reason, Coach Mangus, you have to ask Coach Mangus more about it than me, to tell you the truth, is that we went in another direction towards quarterback. I guess we went for Tanner McAvoy, and that was just a decision we made early. Because, in fact, I was up there, we were recruiting the Dixon brothers. One of them was at the high school there at Rock Hill. And I remember asking Ellis, I said, how come we didn't go after this guy? But for some reason, we didn't. Probably should have, I don't know.
Coach, haven't seen many snaps from Worley. Does that alter your preparation at all?
No, I would think he's a little bit like their first quarterback, Tyler Bray. And their offensive coach does a good job with those guys. Tyler Bray, I mean, he looked guys off, he pumps it here, throws it there. They got some imagination. So I'm sure Worley, he can do those things also. I don't know if he can do them yet, of course. And we're trying to get our guys to look off better. You know, give a little shoulder lean here and there. And we're not very good at that. And I wish we could get better at that. But we'll just have to see how it goes. You know, but this kid's been a winner. There's no question about that. So he's not going to be afraid to go play. Our D-line's got to play well. We got to keep constant pressure on him, hands in his face, things like that. Tennessee has not been a real good running team, although I'm sure they want to run. We all got to run some. So we got to stop the run first, stop the pass, like all good defenses do.
Steve, how much did it help your guys to have that off week and kind of get adjusted to the idea of Marcus's injury, see Brandon out there taking snaps and running with the ones? I mean, how much did that help this off week?
Well, we don't know till we play the game.
Yeah.
You know, it's all speculation till you play the game. But we are well rested. We've all, coaches, players, we had a little downtime last weekend to watch all the games around the country. And we know where we are. Our captains, by the way, I guess I need to tell you guys, we voted for captains during open day, like we said we would. And Travian Robertson and Melvin Ingram, our 2 defensive captains. And on offense, Terrence Campbell and Alshon Jeffrey. And we just let the guys vote for top 4. So that they were the top 4. If we'd had 3 on defense, 1 on offense, or vice versa, we'd done it like that. But just the top 4 guys. So they're our captains, and I think these guys will do a good job. providing a lot of leadership, direction for the team as we make the stretch run next 3 weeks. The next 3 weeks will decide our conference, what we do in the division, SEC. And then after that, we'll decide what the regular season holds for us, those last 2 games.
Steve, you guys have gotten a ton of turnovers and made your share as well. Is that just cyclical, or is there an explanation behind all the turnovers in the games that y'all play both ways?
Well, hopefully we're going to keep getting them and hopefully not giving up too many. We've not given up. Most of our turnovers have been like long passes that are not, they're not good, but they're not as crucial as a turnover for a touchdown. We've been fortunate not to, throw a pick where they ran it back to the 2-yard line or something like that. So we've been pretty good in our territory most of the time. I think we've had a few fumbles, but very few picks. Most of them have been going in when we tried to hang one up to somebody and they outfought us or whatever, or tipped ball went to the other guys, which happened our last game. But we need to score more touchdowns. There's no question about that. Offensively, we need to hopefully get more than 2 a game as we go through this stretch run.
The fact that 3 of Connor's first 4 stops we were on the road or neutral site, is that sort of accelerated the development as a quarterback? It really doesn't matter where you play.
We try not to make it matter. If we had a choice, we'd play them all at home, of course. But we realize if you're going to have a big year, you got to win on the road. We try not to make a big deal out of the road and the crowd noise. We've gone to picking up our foot in the shotgun, even here at home. Connor's voice is probably not as loud as Stephen's was, and a lot of times he'd go in there and the center said he can't hear him, so we just started lifting the foot here at home. And we did it even with Stephen some this past year also. TJ Johnson, he's playing well. Sometimes his hearing is not real good. And he's a young man too. Man, he's not up there in age. He's coach, I didn't hear him. Everybody moves and the ball's not snapped. So we say, hey, put your pig foot up. We'll all go TJ when you're ready. And that does eliminate jumping offside. It has.
Coach, you mentioned the noise. Can you talk about taking a team into Tennessee, especially with a fairly young quarterback and then a young running back as well?
I don't know what the noise will be. It doesn't. Like I said, it really doesn't matter that much when you pick your foot up and you signal in the plays. So the guys they get position and take off. So there's not a lot of verbal language to be used, except occasionally. Occasionally we do. But we've been able to audible actually at Georgia, at Mississippi State. You can still audible. Everybody does it, even when they come here, and it's very loud here also. So, you really just don't even talk about it. You try to control the things that you can control, like playing your assignment each play, playing with tremendous effort. Those kind of things is what we'll be concerned about.
Coach, do you think Neyland Stadium is one of the tougher places you've had to go into as an opposing coach and try to win?
It's one of them. It's one of them. They're all tough. I hate to rank them. They're all up there. Almost everybody's got a stadium over 80,000. Only a few in our conference, I guess, under that. So we try not to make a big deal out of it.
Rick? Steve, you've had a couple of weeks with Connor as the number 1 guy, a couple of games, a couple of weeks of practice. Where has he made the most improvement?
Hopefully just selections, choice, where to throw the ball, when to throw it, all those kind of things. And he's still learning. But he actually threw one last night to the opposite side of sort of where the play was called in case he got a certain defense. And I said, now that's how you play the game. You play the game according to how they play defense. And get the ball out of your hand quickly. And that's where a quarterback's he's got to think quickly, and he's got to know where all his receivers are. And he's getting better at that. And I think he's got a chance to be pretty good at it as he continues playing.
Steve, do you talk at all to the guys about where they are in the race and what's ahead of them? And do you think maybe that with Alabama and LSU being off this week, maybe there'll be more attention? Do you think there'll be any more attention on your side of the bracket in the SEC just because those teams are off?
Oh, there's attention on our side. Ask those Georgia Bulldogs what kind of attention they're giving us every week. And we're giving them a little bit of attention. But no, we don't want to be uptight about it. We talked briefly about where we are, what our goals are. And obviously, the first goal is win the Eastern Division. And but again, you want to just concentrate on the game that week. So that's mainly all we talk about after, hey, we know where we are. We can't afford to lose this one if we want to win the East, which we do. And we better bring our best game to beat Tennessee.
Steve, given the personnel losses on offense and how well you're playing on defense, it feels like this is a team that's going to need to win, be carried by its defense a little bit. Does that take some adjustment from you as a head coach? Is that okay with you to kind of let the defense
Well,
lead the
it
way?
depends on how the game goes, and you call plays according to the score and how the game's going, and that's what I've been doing. If the game's pretty tight, we've been trying to run Marcus, make something happen. A lot of times, nothing good was happening in the one we lost. Wasn't much happening at Mississippi State either. But you try to get a feel of what your team can do and what the score is, and go from there. I tell you, Brandon Wiles is a good running back now. I think if he gets the ball enough and we block a little bit, he certainly can make some yards. But we still got to block, which we haven't blocked quite as well, I think, this year as we did last year. But we'll see how it goes Saturday night.
USC is getting up the first points in 7 straight games. Is that a concern for you as a coach, or really doesn't
It is interesting, isn't it? Yeah, we can't score first. Even against Kentucky and Vandy, we had a turnover, fumbled the opening kickoff, and I think against Vandy we had a fumble or intercept. What did we have there? I know they got it on about our 25-30.
Kickoff return. I think it's interception.
Interception? Yeah. Can't remember that one for some reason, but I know they started on about the 30 or so. But yeah, it might be, I don't know what to think if we score first. That is unusual, yeah. But it does mean that we're not going to panic. Gosh, I remember they used to say team scores first wins, 60%, something like that? Over 50%. I think they used to say that, but those statistics may not be true anymore. I'm not sure.
You mentioned Brandon Wiles. He seems like a very serious kid, has a little fire. Is that accurate, and is that what you want in a freshman who's got kind of thrown into this spot?
Yeah, Brandon, again, young man that really didn't have a tremendous senior year in high school. Had a pretty good year, but I think probably his junior year might have been statistically better. But he's a local kid, so he's always around every opportunity. I'd see him in the weight room. Of course, he graduated early, so he came last January, and he just now, he did not graduate early. He was supposed to, but he didn't. But he was always around, and then the summer he was always around, obviously, also. He missed one class or something happened, but he's always in that weight room. Usually when I'm in there, about 1:30 or so, and even when he wasn't even a student here, he'd come work out on his own, which I think is permissible, isn't it? I'm not sure it is. I think it is. He'd already signed with us, so he'd come on his own a bit. And he's a hard worker, and I really think he's improved physically a lot between his senior year in high school and now. He's faster, he's stronger, just from hard work. Coach Fitz, he'll tell you Brandon is one of his favorites when they come in the weight room.
Steve, on Brandon, when was the decision? There was some talk maybe he might move to fullback. When was that? When was you just going to leave him at running back and halfback, and what was the decision in keeping him there?
Well, he played a little bit of fullback, but not a lot. He's big enough to play in there if we need him. In fact, I think he's in the game a little bit at fullback occasionally, but maybe that was just to go out for passes or something like that. But he's a tailback. He's a one-back type guy. So, and now, you know, he started out, I guess he was about 15 at the beginning of the year. I think we had Marcus, Sean, and Kenny listed as co-second, and then Eric Baker, and then Brandon. So he was about number 5 there. Now he's number 1.
Steve, you made the comment about Connor in practice and how you talked about how he plays the game and made a play. You said that's how you play the game. Are you a little more at ease with him at quarterback in that you got a guy that maybe is more dedicated and is going to be where you know he's going to be as a quarterback preparing for a game?
I'm more about pass protection all the time. That's what we always worry about, pass protection and the lineman not getting beat and giving our guys time to throw and so forth. But no, Connor still got a ways to go now. He's but he he tries to do the way you ask him to do it, and hopefully his decision making will continue to get better.
Coach, in your 7 seasons here at Carolina, how do you rate your overall personnel at quarterback?
How do we what?
How do you rate your overall personnel at quarterback in over 7 seasons?
That's an interesting question you just had there, because we're sitting around always wondering how come we can't throw the ball up and down the field, as well as our teams used to at Florida. And then I started thinking back how many of those guys that I was fortunate enough to coach, Duke and Florida, actually played in the NFL. Now none of them have been All-Pro or Super Bowls, but the other day we were writing them down. Dave Brown, the kid at Duke, played 10, 11 years, something like that. Dave Brown. The guys at Florida, Shane Matthews actually got 16 years in. 16 years he got as a backup mostly, but I mean still, obviously they thought the kid could play. And then after him, Danny Warfel got about 5 or 6 years in. Doug Johnson, 6 or 7. Jesse Palmer, Rex Grossman. Rex up there still playing, starting this year. So those guys, they take their steps and let it go pretty much the right place all the time. And for some reason, I thought we could get some guys to do it, and maybe there's a combination of reasons, but we haven't seen any quarterbacks. We haven't sent many offensive linemen to the NFL. We sent some receivers, a few receivers, obviously. But anyway, for whatever it's worth, that's just sort of what's happened. But maybe these guys we can send some quarterbacks before I leave here to the NFL. Let's hope so.
Do you ever think to go this deep in the season while trying to field goal under 40 yards?
That's another interesting statistic. We've not attempted a field goal in the red zone. Yeah, I've always been a big believer. I know everyone is scoring touchdowns instead of kicking field goals. It seems like when you kick a whole bunch of little field goals, you end up getting beat somehow. But and we've had some turnovers down there. We either score a touchdown or turn it over, which sometimes is 2 field goals equals 6, 1 touchdown equals 7. So if you had touchdown turnover, that's better than 2 field goals. But when they do the red zone statistics, they give you a minus there instead of 2 pluses. But anyway, that is interesting. I don't. And Jay Wooten's only attempted, I think, 6 field goals, 4 of 6. So maybe we'll have to kick a short one this week. Hopefully not, though.
Anything else for Coach?
All right. See you guys in Knoxville.